Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash. Today we're going to be diving deep into this controversial conversation in the cryptocurrency space. If you're not familiar, basically Bitcoin Cash is a fork of Bitcoin. So with the Bitcoin white paper, the Bitcoin coding with hard cap of 21 million, a certain amount of block size, all these different things. Basically, it was August 2017, Bitcoin Cash had a fork. So of the actual blockchain, basically what happens is a fork. This was involved with the SegWit, but basically what you want to understand here, if you don't understand all these kind of like technical things with Bitcoin, is it's in a lot of ways it's similar to Bitcoin, but it's just kind of two different things. Well, I personally prefer Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin Cash does have a place. The people that completely throw it out, that have a very black and white view, in my opinion, you want to look a little bit deeper. Whenever anyone just goes like, oh no, that's not even worth paying attention to. No, dive a little bit deeper because now you have an edge. That person goes, oh no, I'm not going to be curious. You know, their curiosity level is low. You want to go, okay, let me learn a little bit more about this. Where I would personally say you can research if you want, but I personally would say this is never a good investment, is Bitcoin SV, which is actually a fork of Bitcoin Cash. And now this may be getting too complex. We'll be diving into all this in my computer here in a second, actually diving into, Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash on more of like the charting analysis and these kind of different things as far as fundamentals. What you want to understand is Bitcoin SV, Satoshi Vision, really is, in my opinion, not worth your time. But again, you want to up your curiosity factor. You want to at least learn what Bitcoin SV is. So, as Abraham Lincoln says, learn from everybody, even if it's what not to do. So Bitcoin SV, in my opinion, is what not to do. Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash are what to do. Bitcoin Cash, not as much, but, Bitcoin's white paper is incredible. Again, Bitcoin Cash is a split. So basically what they did is they increased the block size. So they lowered transaction fees with doing this and basically increased throughput, increased scalability. Now, while some people may argue if this is right or wrong, the main point of today is just to be objective. Let's look at the objective facts of Bitcoin, BTC versus Bitcoin Cash, BCH, okay? And when you have Bitcoin SV and all these other crazy ones, you can research that if you want, but the main purpose of this video is Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. So the main thing here is, Bitcoin Cash does kind of have a leader, and I would say that is, who I think is very interesting, actually. A lot of people are not a big fan of, but Roger Ver. I would definitely recommend maybe looking up some interviews with him. He did a great interview with Andrew Henderson of Nomad Capitalist, who I'm a fan of. Highly recommend checking that out. I think it's quite interesting because what Bitcoin Cash is doing is actually like starting to partner with countries. He talked about Antigua was one where they're really like pretty much all the restaurants are using this, and since it's such a small country, they can kind of collectively innovate. And I think this is quite interesting because when you look at major like old school Western countries, it's kind of like it's almost like these smaller countries like Antigua are like a jet ski. You can pivot at a point of a dime. Where like the United States or like Canada or Australia are like a giant barge. Or like the Titanic. Like you have to turn it takes so long just to move a little bit. So to innovate in as far as like what currency you're using, the population uses, I think a smaller country like this, maybe if they do adopt something like Bitcoin Cash, it could be quite interesting. So I personally do have to say I prefer obviously Bitcoin over Bitcoin Cash, but I don't just, it's like don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like at least do a little bit more research into what Bitcoin Cash is. That's what we're going to be doing in today's video. Let's jump right into it.
Right off the bat, you can see this pretty stark difference between Bitcoin.org being the actual traditional BTC Bitcoin website and Bitcoin.com, who Roger Ver owns, which is quite interesting. He's really converted this into full Bitcoin Cash. Obviously some people hate this and they like really, really hate on him, but you gotta kind of love it. Like this guy's hustling. Roger Ver owns Bitcoin.com, which is a massive domain name to own. BCH obviously prioritizes that. Right away, it's what is Bitcoin Cash, whereas when you're on Bitcoin, it just is what is Bitcoin. So quite interesting. Obviously, like if you're watching this video, I'm assuming you know what Bitcoin is. So, like we're going to do a dedicated video on, what is Bitcoin, why is it important. But yeah, I'm assuming you know what Bitcoin is. I'm assuming you know the fundamentals. Really, the focus is on contrasting it with Bitcoin Cash or BCH. So when it comes to this website, they lay it out okay. I think both of these websites honestly need a lot of work, though. It's kind of hilarious. Like this is where people might be coming to learn about these things, and honestly, you can learn a lot more on YouTube than you can on either of these websites. Like Bitcoin.com does a decent job with like this video, in my opinion, but still, it's not that good in like a lot of ways. Like you can watch this if you want, but again, I'm assuming if you're watching this, you understand what Bitcoin is. Clearly, like the history, Satoshi Nakamoto, the white paper, all these things. So really what we're contrasting this is with BCH, Bitcoin Cash. And when you're looking at this, let's basically just read through what Mr. Roger Ver says. So, what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a decentralized peer-to-peer electronic cash system that does not rely on any central authority like government or financial institution. All transactions are recorded on a global public ledger called the blockchain. Bitcoin was first described as a white paper written by an anonymous person who went by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto in 2008. And this is so interesting because he Anthony Pompliano. I'll link two interviews that I recommend you watch. One with Anthony Pompliano and Roger Ver, the other with Andrew Henderson of Nomad Capitalist and Roger Ver. But yeah, this is why it's a little misleading, is because new people coming onto the website are going, okay, is this Bitcoin.com? What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin 101. And he doesn't say Bitcoin Cash 101. He just says Bitcoin 101. And this, in my opinion, is kind of the problem here. But yeah, so it can be a little misleading. Um, yeah. And he's like, this is Bitcoin. Is basically what Roger Ver is saying. Like, and obviously it's the Bitcoin Cash Foundation, but he really should say Bitcoin Cash's key features. Obviously, these are the two things that are similar. Obviously they have a lot of things similar because Bitcoin Cash is a fork of Bitcoin. So when you're talking about decentralization, this is true, for both of them. When you're talking about fixed supply, this is true for both of them. We're talking about low fees for Bitcoin, not as much. Bitcoin Cash, yes, that's one thing they have, very, very nice. That's why, that was kind of, as I explained in the beginning of this video, that was kind of the two issues in the Bitcoin community was like, is it supposed to be like a store of value, like a digital gold, or is it supposed to be like the world's new payment system? And Roger Ver created Bitcoin Cash, BCH, because he thought it should be the global payment system. You should be able to buy a cup of coffee with it easily, and that's really what he's working on now. So again, I think in the Nomad Capitalist interview, it's quite interesting because he talks about, working with countries, which is pretty badass in my opinion. I definitely respect Roger Ver. I don't actually hold, to be 100% transparent, I don't hold Bitcoin Cash. Um, I think there's a place for it. I think probably in the next bear market, I might pick up a little bit, especially if they innovate more with other countries. I have played around with the like mobile application because I think that's a bit interesting. But yeah, I do not hold any. Let me know in the comments if you hold Bitcoin Cash. But I prioritize Bitcoin. Obviously, like Bitcoin is worth a lot more than Bitcoin Cash. But I think there is a market for it if he really gets this going with working with countries. Like if he can get Antigua to really support Bitcoin Cash, and this can go through. But again, I think it's just really like the market dominance of Bitcoin is hard to compare. Elon Musk is not adding $1.5 billion in Bitcoin Cash to his balance sheet of Tesla. So growing pains, fork ahead, blah blah blah. The hard fork. This is quite interesting. So here, okay, so he kind of explains it here, which is a bit more transparent. But again, like most people going onto a website, don't scroll down very far. Like part of, I used to do like digital marketing and more web development type things. And one of the things you learn is it's like 80% of people don't even scroll past this. This is the landing page. This is what you see right away. Most people don't even scroll past this. So the little people that do actually might be a bit confused because they're seeing two different things as far as the information on what BCH is, versus what BTC is. And this is one of the problems, I think, but it could also be, you could use this as an argument for why this could be a decent investment because, especially when the masses move into this space, you see this like a domain name, a premium domain name like Bitcoin.com is very, very nice as far as just a strategic advantage in this space. So again, you have .org and .com. So the official BTC has the .org domain, and the BCH has the .com. So that's quite interesting when you're looking at that. Also, the application for Bitcoin Cash is it's the same thing. It's just Bitcoin.com. So it's quite interesting. They definitely are using this domain to their advantage as far as their space. So I think it's quite interesting to just analyze. Next, we'll move into the prices. So it's quite clear right here that you can see the difference between these two. At $47,000. So right now it's up about 10% on the daily. Especially after the news with Tesla. This is quite interesting. It's ranked number one. It's on about 625,000 watch lists. That basically represents the thing is it's a bit harder to say like as far as watch list goes, because this is like the first thing people see when they go on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, because it's leading the space. Obviously, it has the most market dominance. But then when you go into BCH, it's on 149,000 watch lists, so about 150,000 watch lists. It's moved down to rank 10. Around the beginning of this year, it was in the top 5, but yeah, it's right around $500. The all-time high for this guy in the previous bull run was where were we at? It was something like 4,000, if I'm correct. Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah, right around the 4,000 mark. So this is quite interesting. For it to return to those levels, it would do around a 10x. Um, I mean, this is something I think will obviously do well in the bull market. I think pretty much everything in this space will do well in the bull market, but yeah, if you look at the all-time high, December 20th, 2017, it was 4,355 right here. It's down about 88% from that. All-time low was 75. So yeah, quite interesting right there. What you have to realize is the original people that held this, it was since it was a fork, they had an airdrop from. So if you like held BTC in your wallets, you receive BCH as an airdrop, which is pretty interesting. Sadly, I wasn't. I was very very young. I think it was like maybe 10 or 12 when this happened. So I was not able to receive that, but it's interesting. It kind of shows you the first mover advantage. You have the market cap of BCH at right around 9 billion, so 9.5 billion. Where BTC you're at 877 million. So quite interesting. Daily volume 100 million on BTC. Volume here is actually pretty close. That's quite interesting. Right around 7.5 million, and then circulating supply, you can see that how they're the exact same, because again, this is a fork. So really the main thing to understand here is BCH is definitely used more as like a payment network, whereas BTC now is more like a store of value. Most people are seeing it as like a digital gold. So this is quite interesting when you contrast the two, but I think this is hilarious in my opinion, the Bitcoin.com versus Bitcoin.org. So yeah, let me know what you thought about this. If you hold Bitcoin Cash, let me know down below in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, like all videos, like, subscribe button all, invest global, and until next time.